After the new pergola, we weren't happy with the copper log retaining wall, so I decided to build one myself, saving probably $20,000, and it went really well. So stay tuned if you want to see what happened. So I'm going to remove these copper logs and put in a retaining wall. Removed the old retaining wall, cleared it out. Yes, I've used the grinder to cut that back. Yes, I've marked the pavers. They're going to be the corner pavers. I'm going to cut them at 45 degrees, so make a 90-degree corner together. I've cut the pavers in half. See, now they fit 90-degree angle. Yeah, so this is a rough setting. We need to cut. There's a bit of concrete in there. I've got to cut that out so the paver fits in there snug. I've cut the corner out with the grinder. Yeah, really lucky. It all fits perfectly. I don't have to cut anything else. I don't have to cut the big blocks underneath or the capping stones either. They all fit perfectly. It's very lucky. Yeah, it's looking good. This is good. That's a rough out. So I use mortar underneath. Cause I'll stomp down the road base a bit, then I'll put mortar in between so it sits on something, won't move around. Yeah, so there's just too much height difference, so I've put a big block of mortar, set it in there in the corner so it'll be nice and stable and to build on. Yeah, so I just laid some pretty crude forms to put the mortar in the other side here, to the other side. Got the pipe in there, got a rag in there to stop the mortar going inside the pipe, and that's where the power's going to come through. Yeah, just using the 20 kilo bag of mortar you can get from like Bunnings, around $10 a bag. Splash a bit of water so it doesn't set off too quick, especially on warm days. Using just a little garden shovel thing, which I found is the easiest thing to use and spread mortar around. Yeah, so just removing the forms now, it's come out good. You can see a little pipe there for the power to go through. Yeah, just doing another dry run before I do the mortaring the blocks in place. Yep, it's looking good. Levels are pretty much there. Yeah, so starting on the corner, get it nice and wet so it doesn't dry out too quick. Wetting the stones as well. They'll actually put mortar down, nice amount, because I had to raise it up quite a bit. I want it to be nice and strong too, because it all holds together from the corner. This was the hardest bit to get right. The other side was harder as well later, but this bit, just getting this corner right, I had to cut those stones at 45 degree and make a 90 degree together angle sort of thing. Just make sure it all fit correctly and didn't look silly and was stable, because it was a sort of spot where you'd accidentally walk on occasionally. You don't want to crumble, it would be dangerous. So yeah, make sure it's level. Get a good, nice garden level like that one. It's 1.5 meters long. And just keep checking it. When it's all still wet from the mortar, you can still move it around for an hour or so before it's set. So you got a bit of time to play around with it. Also, these retaining wall blocks are meant to not be mortared in. They sort of sit there with gravity and weight. So when you do mortar them in, they're going to be pretty strong. Alright, so I've put down the first course. I've decided just to do one course. I don't want to do the capping stones over there on top because it might move them. So it's all level, and I've got the mortar underneath. So it's going good so far. So I'll put the capping on. I did another little wall here. This is where the barbecue's going to go on top of. I dug it out and I'm going to put a layer of cement and a bit of decomposed granite mixed together. See how that goes. Should look alright too. So I've done the capping. It's looking good. Just let it dry out. So now I have to start on this side, clear it out. So I did the concrete and I put granite sprinkled on top to keep decomposed granite, so it looks nice after I sweep it off give it a wash down. And I've put red rock in that gap there and brought through the power cable all the way through there. So I'll plug into the fridge, which should be over there somewhere. So just waiting on the Crossray outdoor kitchen to come. Should come in a week or so. I swept off the decomposed gravel, leaving the base. That's where the barbecue's going to go. You won't see most of that anyway, just wanted a good stable base. I'm starting to take this apart. So this side would look like that. I started dismantling this side, getting all the copper logs out. Then I'll saw those ones off. Yeah, so I got the side bits of copper log, the horizontal bits out. Now I've got to cut these out with a chainsaw. Yeah, I've cleared it out, cut off the logs. So I've got to knock these out because they're a bit too high, and cut this corner out just like I did at the other side. I just got to cut that one, if I can do that later. I'm filled up with decomposed granite. Still a bit of a hole over there. Just using the grinder to start cleaning away some of the debris around where the old retaining wall was. It's actually a Makita 18 volt mobile 115mm slide switch angle grinder, around $230 Australian. So it's a little ripper. It's not the biggest powerful one, but it does the job, and it's sort of, for a newbie like me, it's the first grinder I've ever bought. It's quite easy to hold and handle. You see I bought all the right safety gear, the bigger gloves, leather gloves, helmet with the face shield. That's in case if the actual disc breaks off, it hits you in the face, you got a little bit of protection there. Also using the chisel and hammer as well. So everything's ready to start mortaring. I have to fill in, there's a bit of a hole here, I've got to fill in with some road base and mortar. So I've got to add a new, like build up with maybe a brick and mortar there. And that's where the new cornerstone will go, the same as over there. Yes, I've done a preparation of the base, which will be going under the corner. But I need to cut a few bits off, it's sort of not quite fitting. I've got to cut a bit off there so the top block goes on. And a bit off there for the second course underneath the top course of retaining wall. That's where the top block corner is going to be, right there, so I've marked that out, which is equivalent to over there. Just trying to mock it up so I can get, I've got to cut this mortar off a bit down here, so this tile, this brick here fits halfway, so it's got to go this way a bit more. It's got to chip this out, but I don't want to go down too deep so I can use it as a ledge for this to sit on over here. So just give me, so that one's in about the right spot. They're roughly in the right spot. So it's got a mark behind where to cut it. Let's go around the back. So it's about, the bottom's there. Fortunately it's got a lip on it. So this is about this. It's about the depth. So transfer that across. Yes, that's the line there. So transfers across roughly. So I need to cut. And then how far? About this far. So I cut this bit out here. You want to do a cut and see how it looks. Yes, I just etched that out there, see how that fits. Yes, I've done a rough mock-up. So I've got the second course starting halfway under the top one. So doing it upside down. And that one's there. It's just a bit lower because I haven't got the mortar in there yet. Let's give me some, I've taken some rough measurements of where things need to go. And I'll just start mortaring it together. It's a bit complex, wish me luck. Just another dry run. Kathy had the great idea doing 3 courses, which makes it look much more better and stabler rather than have a whole big chunk of mortar under it. But yeah, it's looking good. So I'm going to continue on with the rest of the course, remove those bits of wood there and continue on. And then at the very end, I'll mortar the corner bits in, so they're definitely in the right spots. Yeah, they're nearly in the right spots. Have to be risen up a bit more. I don't have too much mortar under the capping. Should just be a thin smear. Yeah, it's looking good. With a hole in there, trying to fill in with some bricks or something, some mortar. I'm going to do the final caps on top. Yeah, we'll continue on all the way down to the end. Just added a bit more to the wall, so I'll continue that wall on. I'll buy some more blocks tomorrow. I started digging out this bit. Unfortunately, the electrician's connected the electricity to the wood in quite a few ways, so I'm going to have to cut the wood off. I'm not sure how he's done it there. Legally I can't open that up because it's an electrical thing. But yeah, it's looking good. Yes, I'm just removing all the old copper logs, which have been there like 30 years and been doing the job. We had a big garden there, had a whole lot of morayas there. I had to dig the roots out beforehand as well. And it was such a hard timber to get rid of. Anyway, got it out, just chipped away at it. Just using buckets. Just go slowly. I like to do a little bit and have a clean site. Don't make one big mess. Do a bit, then move on to the next bit. That way you're not left with a huge mess out there for months on end. We're about to go on holidays too, so I wanted to get this done fairly quickly. The whole build, this bit here I've filmed, took about 11 days. I was off work that time, so... And I'd work a couple of hours a day, some days a bit more. And just, chipping away at it. That mattock, the best tool ever. Little mattock. Just cutting away, because a big mattock, I'm my late 50s now, it just staying of the big mattock, sometimes that's the only way you need to go, but the little one, you just sit there and just chip away at it, and you can just go for hours. The big mattock, I use it for like 10 minutes, and I go have a half an hour rest. So being an older guy, it's just an easier way of doing it. So just taking out the copper logs, taking all the dirt away, putting it over on the other side of the yard, chipping away at it. So just chip away a bit at a time. Had to dig down a bit. There was a few bits almost underground. So just about to cut those big copper logs going into the ground. They go about 2 foot into the ground, the damn things. So just bought this little chainsaw. It's a Makita 36 volt, 300mm chainsaw. It does the job. You can see this first time I'm cutting. This took like 20 minutes. I did speed it up because the chainsaw was blunt. The second one, you see all the little wood chips flying off it? That's, it's actually cutting it. It rips the bits of timber out. And this is real time. I didn't actually have to edit this. It cut it, pretty quickly. So make sure you've got a sharp chainsaw. Nothing more dangerous than a blunt chainsaw. I've cleared out the other side now and cut out all the posts. Just put a pipe over the electrical bit so it's protected. Oh, little lizards. There's a lizard. The lizards like it because I stir up all the bugs and they can come out and eat them. Yeah, so it's all cleared out for the next step where I'll get ready for the next part of the wall. Just put a string line, so that's what the top of the bottom block will be. Measure it all the way out and linking it to the other wall across here. So I'll put a third block underneath that block there, and that's the top of that block. So got my levels looking good. Yeah, so I've got my level looks correct. So I put the capping stone on it and it's the right level with the rest of the paving over there. So I've done a bit of a wall which will keep stable. This bit here, I'm gonna cut out this one here and put half of one of these over here so it looks nice from this side. So I'll work on that. Yeah, so I've got it figured out pretty good. I'm going to mortar at the end. We just want to make sure every block fits, so create another block to fit there. And it's the right height now, it's nice and level. This is looking good. Just going to have a bit of an issue around this post. There's not much room there, it's going to hit it. So I have to work out how to get that around there. We'll have to cut off the back of some of the blocks rather than risk the integrity of the actual pergola. So we'll go all the way down to here. Then we'll join to the other side, which is going around this side here, which we did earlier, which is 2 courses. It hasn't been mortared in yet. It's looking pretty good. Just take your time. Just fix errors, but don't go too far. If you have errors, just go back and fix the errors. Don't keep going, because then you just make a bigger mess. Yeah, you can see I use a tarp where I can, because I'm moving dirt on top of where I had some nice gravels, just to keep it from being a mess. Putting some blocks, so putting some road base down first, then the blocks. That's what you're meant to do with this stuff. It's got a lip on the back so it hooks in as well. So doing 3 courses there. Got the string line, very important. So I've got the bottom course going to the string line. Now that bit where the pergolas are, the pole coming off the pergola, they put a lot of concrete around it. And I didn't want to chip, initially I did want to chip the concrete away, but it could cause cracking around that post. So I just decided to chip the back off those big retaining blocks. And you want to also hammer them in so it's a nice, they don't fall down too much over time. Hammer them in so it's a nice firm fit. So this bit I've got to cut it around the concrete, make it fit. So cut it around with the cold chisel. I've got to cut this one right in half almost to fit it in front of this bit here. Put in the bottom rung all the way. Have to join it up at the corner there. There's the mesa wall mocked up. Yep, so this is the corner I have to do next. Need to buy a few more blocks, but it's looking good. Just got to join up to this end. God, it really fits perfectly. Actually, I think I can make that a corner. Yeah, it's nearly right. Just cut 2 corners. We'll see. Yeah, I'm happy with the way it's looking. Nice and level. You can't tell it's gone around a post. It looks like nothing's there. Looking pretty good. This side bit, I did that a couple of months earlier, and it's just, there's no mortar there at all. It's just 2 courses going all the way. I do put a 3rd course near the corner, so it matches a bit that way, and also has a bit more structural integrity. Yes, I've got some extra blocks which I've put in place. I still need a couple more to finish off the corner, and I did a 3rd course going that way as well. You can see going that way about 4 pavers up, down on the 3rd rung, making it more stable. I just need to put a couple in here and cut them so it makes a nice corner. That's going good. Yeah, so cutting some blocks to fit in the corner. I wasn't really sure what I was doing with the corner, like how it'd go. So I was just starting 1 block at a time, making some measurements and then cutting. Yeah, using the grinder, the same grinder I used earlier. Got a diamond blade on it, nice thick blade so it won't snap easily. So it's not a large grinder, so usually I do score cuts, then I hit it with the hammer to cut it. After it's split, there was still a bit of burr hanging off the face. I just used a grinder to grind it back a bit, so it'd be a nice join. Yes, I've cut that block there, so it fits there nicely. So now I've got to cut this one here to fit in there, that bit there. Just have to measure that. Take your time marking stuff up. It'll save you a lot of time cutting stuff or wasting materials, because the blocks are about $7 each, so you don't want to run through too many of them. But all in all, it's a fairly cheap way to build stuff. So just marking it, and I'll take it over and cut it again. So it all went pretty well. I didn't have to redo too many cuts. I was just sort of worked out pretty well. So just checking it first time, that's good. So it saves you a bit of time and stress, and you feel a bit of pride, I guess. So next block going on top. So that one, don't really need to cut too much off that one. Then that one on the other side there. I'm going to just have to cut a little bit off the corner, and then it'll fit on. Yeah, so it's just a little cut. So not too many cuts, and just doing one block at a time, it was working out really well. And it just seemed to fit together. I was sort of lucky. I was sort of at the right sort of length where I didn't have to cut too much of the course down the bottom. Yeah, that whole corner's sitting just on road base. So later on I go and put a bit of mortar under it to make sure it's stable and nice and strong. All right, I've done all the walls built. I just got to put mortar on now. So I'll go to the final capping I did. I got the grinder and I angled this sort of bevel on it. Yeah, it looks pretty professional. Good corner. So very good. So just need to mortar now. Yeah, so ready to mortar again. So as before, just use that mortar. It's $10 a bag, wet it down. Again, this corner was really difficult, but it took about an hour to get it right. Here, I did it in 5 minutes, but it took about an hour. I just played around until I got it right. Had a bit of time with the mortar. You got like half an hour before it sets off. Now, if it goes wrong, just chip it all out and start again the next day. You know, it doesn't matter. You're building it all from scratch. It'll cost you extra $10. You're not wasting much money. So just make sure the levels are right. Once you got the corner right, the rest just flows on from the string line. And a lot of that paving in the wall is already set. I don't need to mortar it in. I just have to mortar in behind it. Just the corner I've got to build nice and strong. So again, if someone walks on it, it doesn't all collapse. So again, making sure everything's level. And there's mortar going in the corner there to put the capping stone in there. That capping stone want a nice amount of mortar. Wipe it down with the sponge. Get all the excess off so it looks nice. Tap it down. Also fill in any gaps with the mortar as well. That'll help the strength and keep it all nice and tight together. Again, use a sponge to wipe it down, keep it nice and clean. If you wipe it down within half an hour, it'll be fine. So put in some decomposed granite to colour it as well, so it matches more of the creamy brick colour. So in the corner, which was just on road base, I'm putting a hell of a lot of mortar in there to make it really strong, and it won't fall with gravity over time or years. Yeah, so just putting the capping stones on. I have to cut a couple to make sure it fits. Initially I cut one bit, it was like really small, like a sliver, and it looked really bad. So Kathy said that, so I had to go back and redo it, and it turned out really good. So putting in more mortar to hold down the big blocks. The big blocks are called Brighton Masonry. They're 295mm by 185mm by 100mm cream easy wall block. They're about $7 each. The capping stones are called Adbury Masonry 400 by 200mm by 50mm Sunstone Haven slab paver, and they're $5 each. Yeah, so it's time to mortar the capping stones on the rest of it, on the rest of the wall. So those stones aren't actually designed to go on it. I've sort of just decided to do it that way myself. They do overhang a bit. So I just put about 1 centimetre or so mortar on top, maybe half a centimetre, and just lay the capping stones on top. Make sure they're level horizontally and laterally as well. So you can see me using the level there. You can see I'm just going through the time lapse there. It's not taking too long. That took like 10 minutes to do that bit. You get quicker the more you do it as well. I'm pointing the back side of it, so that to lock it in as well. So more mortar going in the gap there, doing the front as well. Some of the pavers did come off later, and so I just decided to use construction glue as well, and that sort of locked it in forever. So some places it might come off, but you just use liquid nails construction glue to get it in. So now doing the other side there. So again, just putting the mortar on top, doing a bit at a time. I'm wetting it down as well as a warmish day. I do a lot of these things in summer. Yes, so decking to the left there, I did that as well. I'll do a separate video on that as well. That was quite a good process as well. So just continuing on, you can see I'm smearing on the underside of the capping and then on both sides and on the block itself. This didn't take long as well. You still got drainage gravels there as well. So when you hose it off, it's like a drain as well. So I do put some decorative stuff on later, which you'll see, which will make it look tie in better with the cream sort of look. So just going on, continuing with mortaring down the capping stone, just going well. The last bit, I had to cut it to fit. It wasn't quite fitting right, so I had to take it away and cut it. And there's a bit of a gap there, so a bit more mortar in that spot there. And came back and it fit quite nicely. Quite a bit. That's a sort of key point. I want to make sure it's got a nice amount of mortar under it, so it's nice and strong. Sponge it down as per before. Wipe it all down, make it look clean. Then put the decomposed granite into the joint as well. Make sure it matches nicely. So it's come out quite nice. Quite happy with that. So recut that one so it's a better fit. And I've laid these pavers, the capping stones on. So they're basically done. Just like waiting them to set for a couple of days, and I'll put new red rock on top. And over here, I've done the capping stones here. Capping stones are done. Just need to point it at the front underneath the capping stone just to lock them in a bit better. I'll do that tomorrow. Just need them to set off a bit before I play around with them. Yes, just put in the rest of the drainage gravel. So again, from Bunnings, like $5 a bag or something like that, not too much. $10 a bag or something like that. So buy that. I just go to Bunnings every couple of days and put a few bags in the boot and drive home, just chip away at it, as I say. Yeah, just adding this red stone gravel. It's again $10 a bag from Bunnings. Sometimes they run out of it and you got to go to another shop, but I found enough to use. And then down the side as well, the gravel, the red gravel, sandstone gravel looks quite nice. Just tying it in. So finally finished the wall. I put in the red rock. I finished pointing under the capping stone, and I've coloured all the grey mortar with the decomposed granite, so it blends in better. Yeah, pretty happy with that. It was a lot of fun too. So hope you get something out of this video. I will have some future videos coming up as well.